I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different, and every breakup is different. Work with me, and you'll get professional help on your situation. Just click on the link in the description below, or go to my website, AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
Hi there, I'm Coach Margaret.
And today we're going to be talking about investing in yourself.
You can't go wrong that way, can you?
Well, I certainly hope not, right? So it's really important that you consider how much you invest in you, especially when you're going through a breakup.
Yes.
Because what we tend to do is spend just about all of our free time focusing on our ex, focusing on that other person, what went wrong, what they're doing. It can be very easy to invest almost all your free time into that other person.
Yes.
And it can overwhelm you.
Yeah.
You can look at their social media so frequently throughout the day that you forget what you're doing. You can't stay focused on any kind of work task or school or your own personal life.
Right.
So it's really important that you remember that you are the priority. Okay? You should always be the priority in your life. Of course, you want to make other people important, but components to your life, they should be adding to your life, right?
And ever the therapist, I want to add here, remember that you're worth it.
Absolutely.
Okay?
And you're probably feeling very guilty about the breakup.
And probably blaming yourself where it isn't your fault or whatever. But yes, remember that you're worth the investment.
So we're going to talk a little bit about this today because we really thought about what you guys are going through and how oftentimes so much of your time is focusing on the other person, and a lot of you guys, even when you're in a relationship, are focusing more on that other person than you do on yourself.
That's right.
There's got to be a balance, because if you think about it, the only person that you will always have a relationship with is yourself.
Right.
And it's easy to forget that.
Yes.
Always. Yeah. And some people will come and go out of your life, but the one person that won't is you. And you can't
And
forget
you bring
about that.
all your talents and all the things you've learned from relationship to relationship and phase of life to phase of life. So don't forget that big investment.
And one of the things that you may be doing or have done in your life or in your past relationships or even in this one is made a pattern of putting other people ahead of you. Okay?
Very common.
It's not healthy to do that. And sometimes a lot of you guys or ladies out there think that you're being quote-unquote nice. I have to be nice. You feel like you are supposed to be a pleaser to keep someone around.
And it's very much part of the conditioning and upbringing of women, more so than men.
Yeah. But you always have to be nice to yourself first. So sometimes you have to tell people no. And one of the books that I just started reading, I didn't tell you about this yet, is talking about our stress and illnesses.
Oh, yes.
And a big component of that is when you live a life where you're afraid to tell people no.
Oh, and that's very frequent. And I think probably more frequent among women than men. And just to point out a common example, women are expected oftentimes to take care of younger siblings, to do household chores that involve caretaking for people, and come very much to be caretakers. And when you say to them, but what about you? They look at you like you arrived from another planet. A guy, on the other hand, is told that he can go out and he can be aggressive and he can get what he wants and he can find what he wants and all of that. But if a woman says she's going to take some time to think about herself, she's often called selfish.
Wow.
And that isn't because anybody plans it, but that really comes out of the culture.
Yeah. And you know what? You know, the message when you're growing up is you can't be selfish. Don't be selfish.
Don't be
you know
selfish.
what?
Yeah.
It's your life. You have to be selfish.
There's a healthy selfishness.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
And I used to think being selfish was wrong, and then I was like, wait a minute, it's not necessarily a bad thing to be selfish.
Right.
If you're not selfish and you're looking out for yourself, who's going to protect you?
Nobody.
Who's going to look out for yourself?
Nobody.
So there has to be a balance.
Yeah.
There has to be a balance. And one of the things that often throws off the whole dynamic of a relationship is that both people need to be invested in the relationship for the entire duration of the relationship.
Yes.
And if one of you starts to invest all the time and energy and effort into making it last, the other person slowly withdraws or is no longer invested or caring about it.
Right.
So you have to consider that, right? Do you want to add to that?
I just want to add the old song of Janet Jackson's, "What Have You Done For Me Lately?"
Yeah, exactly.
It's important to always remember those words, and also what's in it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, if you really love somebody, that's a whole other matter. You know, you'd value their well-being at least on a par with your own. But particularly in the early stages of a relationship, you got to think 50-50.
Yeah. And one of the things that we wanted to also talk about is when you get into a new relationship, it's really easy to invest heavily in somebody new.
Right.
Right? There's this new fantasy, this new toy, this
Yeah.
thing that you're excited about, this person you're excited about.
And all the hormones that go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so you start to invest all of this time, energy, effort, resources, maybe even exclusivity.
Yeah.
Instead of
Yep.
trying to get to know other people, you invest your exclusivity too.
I'm not going out with the girls or the boys tonight because she might call on his break.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's important that you don't do that.
Don't
it can
do
be
that.
real easy
Yeah.
to do that. Okay? You got to think of it this way, or this is a helpful way to think about it, right? If you're going to invest in a stock and you're going to spend a bunch of money investing in a company, you're not going to do it, or it would be foolish to do it with a company that you don't know anything about. You got to research it. You got to learn about the company before you invest in it. It's like a new relationship. It's a new person. Why are you going to invest so heavily in something or somebody you don't know anything about?
And it takes a while to get to know somebody. And I'll have people say, well, I know so-and-so really well, and I'll ask a couple of questions, and no, they really don't. So it takes time.
Mm-hmm. You're oftentimes just so focused on how you feel
Right.
that you're not thinking things clearly, right? So you
Yes.
always want to invest in you and what's going to be best for you. Is this relationship going to be best for you? If you take your ex back or you get another opportunity with your ex, is it going to be best for you?
Right.
Right? So, if you have invested in a partner or a relationship for a long time and they leave you, they walk away, it feels like everything that you have done is just
Gone.
wiped out and gone.
Gone, yeah.
Right?
And you're left with a bunch of severed relationship and neglected interests.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And oftentimes people are like, man, I was in this relationship for 5 years and now it's completely gone and it's helpless, or you're helpless, there's nothing you can do.
Right.
And, it's really scary.
Yeah.
Right? It feels like everything's been taken away from you. So, we're going to talk about some of the areas that you want to invest in yourself, because it's important that you take care of yourself.
Yes. Want me to start on that?
Sure.
One thing I suggest, because I'm a social worker by trade, is that you look at yourself psychologically and socially. Socially, do you get along okay with other people? Do you work with other people, and you don't have to like them, but do you manage to work with them and get along with them reasonably well? Do you get along with your family members? And, do you belong to any clubs? Do you have any hobbies? In places where you encounter other people, do you do okay?
Yeah.
Okay? And if not, then we should take a look at that, because your life is not going to be all that satisfying. So you look at things socially, at yourself or anybody else, and then psychologically. And that's not as hard as it sounds. On a daily basis, do you feel okay? about yourself and the world.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Is your mood okay most days? Everybody gets a little bummed out once in a while, and it can last for a few days or even a few weeks.
Sure.
But it doesn't mean there's something terribly wrong with you or that you're clinically depressed. But if it persists, for weeks and months, then that's not okay, and you're not going to enjoy your life. Do you have tons of anxiety, even over little things, and say to yourself, well, that's silly, why am I anxious about that? But you still can't stop. So, look at an average day. If it's okay, you're okay. But if there are persistent things that come up, anxiety, feeling sad, do I lose my temper more often than I'd like to? Okay.
It's a big one.
Yeah, do I get in trouble for that a lot? I better take a look at that. And that's not something we often come to ourselves. I think most times we have to have people say to us, listen, you've lost your temper 3 times in the last 2 weeks. What's going on with you? Which is a perfectly reasonable question. So you're going to look at yourself psychologically and say, do I feel okay most days? Is my mood okay?
Yep.
Do I get done what I plan to do? Do I remember to have fun sometimes? Because fun and humor are serious business. You need to have some.
Yeah, and if you're having a lot of anxiety or depression, it could be really, really difficult to have fun.
Yes, to have any fun. And remember that it's important. And remember to keep in contact with people from whom you get something, you learn something, they make you feel good when you talk to them.
Yeah.
All of those things are very important.
Yep.
And what if, when you look at all this, they're not all working? What do you do then?
You better look at it and you better figure out how to improve those areas.
Yeah.
And we have 5 areas here that we think that you should consider when investing in yourself.
Yes.
Physical health.
Physical health, number 1.
That means eating healthy or getting to sleep.
Eating, sleeping, the 2 biggest basic ones. Yep.
Getting into a sleep routine that can be helpful. Obviously, exercise is really important.
Yes.
So physical health and taking care of your body and your mind is really important, okay? Your chosen career.
Yes.
Whatever it is.
Do you invest in it? Do you go to further training in it?
Conferences or
all
seminars
those
or
things where people
extra
grow.
classes, or maybe you're considering, getting another degree to help you get further along in your career, right?
Or another license, depending on what you do.
Your relationships.
Yep.
Like your relationships with your family. It's important to invest in them. And if you think about it, a lot of times when you get into a new relationship,
it's easy to forget.
You ignore your friends. You're stop going out with them. They invite you out. You're like, no, I can't. I'm going out with my new girlfriend or this or that. And then they get frustrated and fed up, and a lot of times they'll forgive you and be there for you, when you need them again. But sometimes they just get fed up, or you just let them go, and it's not going to be healthy for you because you lose that support system.
And taking care of yourself is ultimately something that makes you a whole lot more attractive and interesting.
Absolutely.
If you're doing okay in this world, it's attractive to people.
Yeah.
And if you ask most people what percentage in a relationship they would like to have, most people will say 50-50. But I've met lots of people who say, well, I think I should do 80% and they should do 20. I've heard people come up with percentages like that, and anything that's that unbalanced eventually is not going to work.
Yeah, of course.
But if you grew up in a household where you were expected to care for others, that can happen.
Yeah. Hobbies are another important way to invest in yourself. The things that you enjoy doing, whatever it may be. You gotta do those things to kick back and relax and enjoy life.
Yes.
It's not supposed to be all serious business.
No.
Right? And the last one, and one of the most important ones that very rarely people even consider, until a lot of you guys have come to my channel and learned, is mental health.
Yes.
Mental health is a huge priority for your life.
Right.
And that is why Margaret and I are always trying to help you and educate you in those areas. Because many of you have completely neglected your own mental health. Some of you for your entire life. Some of you had never even considered it before. And the only reason you're considering it is, well, what do I have to do to get my ex back?
Right. And if that's where you can start, that's okay.
That's okay.
Start wherever you can. But mental
don't
health
finish there.
affects everything. I mean, if, I went through all those things. If on a day you feel too anxious, too depressed, too angry, too anything, really think about seeing somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's just so important that you make your mental health and personal growth a priority for your life. You may not get your ex back. You may not get an opportunity to get your ex back. Sometimes that's out of your control. But what is in your control is your ability to focus on yourself, to learn, to grow, and to heal, to work through your attachment issues, your attachment traumas.
Yes.
And to become healthier and more securely attached. Because if you can, whoever it is that you date in the future is going to be a lot more likely to stick around.
Right, and the healthier you are, the better your attachments will be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The healthier, the happier your relationships will be.
Yes.
And the more likely you'll end a relationship if it's not working or it is unhealthy for you.
Because you know you deserve better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So really take some time to think about how you're going to invest in yourself. And, maybe it's a self-improvement book that you saw or thought about reading. You sit down and explore it, or watching some of the videos that Margaret and I create on attachment, because we really want you to get to a place where you are going to retain the information. That's what worries me for a lot of the people out there.
Retaining the information?
Is that they come to the channel, they learn for, however many months they're there, and then they give up that the ex is coming back. They kind of slow down on all the personal growth they've made, and then 6 months later, they're completely back to who they were before the breakup. And I have had people come back to me, probably 5-6 months later saying,
I forgot everything you said as soon as I met. Yeah.
And my ex came back and I blew it.
Yeah.
I get that a lot more often than you guys would think.
Right.
Just because you think your ex is not coming back does not mean it's not going to happen. Believe me, that is one of the things that you guys really have to understand. Just because you don't believe it and things look terrible right now or completely bleak right now, it doesn't mean it's going to stay that way.
Now, I was just going to say, I think culturally it's much more acceptable for women to, for example, take time reading a self-help book. I don't know that men have much permission or cultural acceptance of sitting around being thoughtful and thinking about their wants and needs. And yet I think always of one of my all-time favorite clients who was a really big, tough truck driver, and he was one of the most emotionally literate people I ever met. So it's okay for macho men to be self-reflective.
Absolutely.
It's okay.
It's a sign of strength, not weakness.
Yes.
I'm excited too because I've been working hard on the workbook for you guys, and I'm going to do multiple workbooks, and it's to help you retain the information that you learn when you watch the videos, but also to reflect and think about the issues. So if I'm talking about a topic in a video, you sit there and reflect on how that topic affected you and your relationship with your ex or future relationships. So I'm trying to do a couple different things with the workbook to help you not only retain things, but also grow from them and internalize it, so hopefully it'll help stick.
And you know what? Ultimately, nothing feels better than personal growth, or absolutely no one would do it, because it isn't easy. But feeling healthy is one of the ultimate highs.
Yeah.
Okay?
So, invest in yourself. It's the only relationship you know you're going to have forever. Right?
Go for it. You deserve it.
Yeah. So, if you want to get our help personally, just go to my website, askcraig.net. Sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching and I do Skype coaching. If you got to get with me right away, I do offer emergency Skype coaching. Margaret is also available.
Yes, and many of you have signed up, and I'm just delighted.
So, just click on Margaret on the top of the website and you can sign up right there. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And we will talk with you soon.
Hi, I'm Coach Margaret, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist with 35 years experience. Every relationship is different, and every breakup is different. Work with me to get professional help on your situation. Go to askcraig.net to sign up for a personal coaching with me.